Hi guys, this is Keleena Malnar.
And this is Debbie DuBois.
Hey, how are you guys
Debbie
today?
DuBois is in my house.
Yes, I am. I came to visit Keleena. This is the first time that we met this week, and we decided that...
In person.
Yes, in person. Yeah, we've only spent an awful lot of time together on Skype, the phone, and everything else, but... We decided that we've been doing a lot of really good spiritual work together, and we have some really great ideas for sharing some information with you. So
we decided to make our first video, but this was just going to be an introduction and fun.
Yeah. So, anyways.
But I like the first one better.
I know. We started out with a video, and all we did was laugh the whole time. And of course, she recorded it, so I was just like, oh my God, how embarrassing.
But
so,
I like it.
I know. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. We had a good time. One of the things that we have really... Keleena actually brought this to my attention, and I think that this is an incredibly, important subject,
yes.
Exactly. And it really has to do with a move in spirituality that, first Keleena definitely made, and then she kind of saw me moving in that same direction and has guided me in that direction. So,
yes.
You want to talk a little bit about...
Yes, it's about... I don't want to call it the process. It's like the polarity of mentality versus emotionality. It's a level of consciousness that everybody will reach at a certain time when they get there.
Mm-hmm.
If I keep talking, I'm going to go way up, and I don't want to do that in this video
No,
right now.
No, I think you should. I think you should do whatever you normally do. She's really
well. I don't want to... Because I'll just start talking.
It's okay. I love it. See, this girl is so cool. I mean, she does so many amazing things. And since I have been here, she has really, really brought me along in so many ways. And one of the ways we're working on with me right now is moving out of emotionality into the mentality, which isn't like what you think. It's not about being in the brain. It is literally being in your heart intelligence. And the mentality state, where the emotionality state tends to be all about stories. Mm-hmm. You're telling yourself stories, you're feeling all these emotions, you're living in your emotional body.
Emotionality is more of all those thoughts. You're living in the emotional part of everything instead of in the mentality part, where you're not guided by the emotions first. You see everything from the mentality state in a bigger picture. Right. As a bigger picture, like for an example, if somebody passed away, when you're not in the mentality state, the first thing you're going to do is go into that emotional part, mm-hmm. which is okay in either state, but then a lot of people tend to stay there and go through depression and all that stuff. But if you're in the mentality state, you tend to see that in the bigger picture that they've been here, they've done their job.
They finished their contract.
Everything that they came to do is done.
On.
And yes, and they get to mm-hmm. go back. You can call it home, or you can call it whatever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But in the mentality state, it's just, to me, it's more of an easy part of the process, and you understand mm-hmm. everything, and you're very heart-centered.
I was going to say, I like to think of it as flying up.
Yeah,
above.
You're in a higher state.
And I know that, some people think, direction, mm-hmm. hierarchy, and all that. But I actually think of it as just being in a higher perspective. Mm-hmm. When you can see more pieces on the chessboard. So you see how everything is interrelated. And if you're not living in a place from your emotional bodies where you're triggered by programs that run automatically from your family and things like that, that it really affects your state of being. And when you get to a really good mentality state, you're no longer driven by your emotions. So Is that about right?
Yes. Right. You see the bigger picture in everything.
Right.
Spiritually.
And see, Keleena was very instrumental in me with, I was in a loop. When we first met, I was pretty far up in terms of what I had learned and everything, but I was in a mental, emotional body, but not just emotional body, a brain loop where thinking, and trying to figure things out. I got accused of that a lot. Trying to figure things out. And I had a friend of mine who was always saying, are you trying to figure things out? It's like, yes.
Overanalyzing everything.
Right. But, as I did work with her, I'm not exactly sure of all the process. She's worked with the process quite a bit, but what we ended up with is me getting to a state where I released so much of the stories and the belief in, what was driving the emotionality, that I've started to arrive at a state where I pretty much feel like I'm floating above situations and can see a higher perspective, which is more of the mentality.
That's
What do you
where
think?
everybody's heading.
Right.
Everybody's heading there.
Right. Because in the higher dimensions, there's really no room for emotionality, because all of that is programs and triggers.
Yeah. In the emotionality, I know there's people out there that believe in Atlantis, there's people that don't, but from the information I'm given, the emotionality state, that all started during the Atlantean times. That was part of the experience that's when it started for the emotionality.
Okay, so that was like when we fell in vibration from the fifth dimensional, maybe?
It's just all I see is Atlantis, and that's where the emotionality state started. And it was an experience that here in the physical body, that's where it started. And we've been doing that for how many thousands of years now? And it's time to change and ascend and go into that higher state of consciousness, of love, and live heart-centered where we're supposed to.
Right. And what's really interesting is that I've actually been able to start transitioning this into business in terms of dealing with, the patriarchal society that has been pretty much ruling the planet. A lot of business has all been from an emotionality standpoint, actually. Everything is driven by emotions of needing to succeed and things of that nature. And we are starting to return in all ways to ancient ways, and ancient ways really are dealing from a mentality standpoint and not emotionality. So,
yeah.
One other thing that I had put some pieces together about emotionality. I think a lot of times when people think of emotionality, they think of, okay, you're going to mentality. Let's just throw out all those emotions. So we're not going to have any fun.
We always have
We're not going to. Yeah, emotions. I would like to think of it as more of a state of being. Mm-hmm. Like when you're in a love state of being, I mean, there's just lots of laughter. There's lots of fun. There's lots of giggles. This girl giggles more than anyone I have ever met. I'm like, is this really? She would always write giggles. We'd be typing to each other, and she'd write giggles, and I'm like, okay. But she does. I'm over here, and she's just texting or something, and she's going, and I'm going, here she goes again. But see, the thing is that when you get to that state, it's not that you're not happy. In fact, when you start to get to a state happy. When you're in a mentality state, as opposed to be driven by your emotions and that thoughts that churn and churn, suddenly there's room for your emotions to literally start bubbling out and over. And we have laughed more in the last couple of days than I have laughed in a long time. So here we go. She'll laugh constantly. It's like,
but it's not. You make yourself happy.
It is true.
And you live that way all the time. There's nobody else can make you happy except for you. You find your highest joys and passions, and you live your dreams, and that's usually your highest joys and passions are your creative side, your spiritual side.
Yeah.
And that's what you live from. That's what you came here to do. That's what you came here to experience. And we all have that within us. It's just a matter of a lot of us trying to find it once they leave the ego side. That's a whole nother story. And go
another video.
The other. But you have to be in that state where you're happy all the time.
Right.
And then if you have someone come along that makes you even more happy, that's just like the cherry on top, or what do you call it, the frosting on the cake or something. That's extra happy.
It's fun when you meet someone else who's in emotionality, because mentality. Sorry. You end up having so much fun together because you're not all wrapped up in stories and wondering if you're being, if people are making stories about you, et cetera, et cetera. And it makes for a lot of fun. There was one other thing that I was thinking about, and that is that once you do reach the mentality state, what I have found personally is that when you approach other people who are going through their own emotionality, you realize that you do not have to participate in their emotionality.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. You can stay in your mentality state.
Right.
We have compassion for the people that are going through it.
Right.
And we can
love.
Yes, absolutely. Send them love and stuff. But we can also assist with the process, like what we're doing now. I don't know that many people in the mentality state right now. And when all this information first came to me, I was like, I have to tell Debbie because this information was coming through.
Well, she kept seeing me going in loops, and she's like, okay.
Yeah.
But she knew I was right for moving in that direction in that process.
Right. And when it started coming through, this information, like just direct connection to source, and I work with the angels a lot, I was like, I need to, and I recognized where she was at in her process. I was like, I need to talk to her about this because I knew
she had to get me out of that loop.
It would help clear her, and it would bring you up, but it also, she can also relate some of this information as well, and I knew that I can open her up more.
Because of the stuff I'm doing with raising vibrational frequencies and heart connections and true sacred union and all that.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, and what I've started to understand is that what happens when you get to a mentality state and someone's in an emotional state, you find yourself just seeing a stop sign. And you're able to walk up and you're able to say, oh, okay, that person's having their emotional state. I honor and send you love. There's no judgment. I'm here. But then you just kind of sort of turn your attention to something else that keeps your vibrations high. That person can then choose to be in their emotionality state, and they start really actually honing in to shift that themselves. And I always know that I'm going to go back a few minutes later and they're going to be shifted. But I'm not going to cement. Or the next day.
Yeah. We give them the space, create the space so that they can go in within themselves and find their own answers.
Right. That's the biggest thing, is finding your own answers. And sometimes when you have people in your life that tend to be there for you, you don't find your own answers.
Right. You're always depending on that other person, and you never get up to the next level if you cannot stand in your own power and do things for yourself.
Right, and find your own answers, because ultimately, as way showers, the job is really to make sure that everyone learns to do this themselves, And so anyways, I guess that's probably it for the first time that we talk. We're really not sure how this is going to evolve. I know that we've both done videos, and I'm actually very much considering doing some more videos with Keleena and also some other people that are in our circle of light, or whatever you want to say, our friends. So we'll see how this develops, and it was just something we wanted to do, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. Have you?
It was fun.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. And if you have any questions at all, or you'd like to make any comments, please do comment below. And of course, we'd love to hear what you think. And if you have any questions, please also put them there. Okay? Thank you. Bye. Until next time. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.